All right. Hello, everyone. Daniel here, and I'm at Comicon Oak City with Jeremy Whitley, who I have previously interviewed, as you guys probably saw. Writer of numerous comics, including the Unstoppable Wasp for Marvel. So let's talk about that first off. Now, the series still hadn't come out when I last talked to you, but now it has, and quite frankly, I'm loving it. Like, I've only read the first issue so far, but it's a great series. You're really exploring, one of the key things I think about the series that I've noticed is the science. There's a lot of, Nadia is primarily more of a scientist than a superhero. Like, there's that scene where she meets Bobby Morse and, doesn't realize who she is until, like, even though she knows she's a Mockingbird, but it's like, when she's like, oh, you're the scientist, Bobby Morse? So explain how did that come about? Like, was that kind of how did that?
Yeah, I mean, some of the interesting things with Nadia, a lot of it comes from her having been basically locked up in, in the Red Room all this time, studying science to be a scientist. So she's studied the work of these other scientists, these people who do, super science, be it Bobby or at one point in one of the issues they talk about Kurt Connors and Otto Octavius as like people who are influential to her. And she's not really familiar so much with the superheroes and the supervillains as, the scientists. So, she sort of views all these people from this lens of having done these great things, and then occasionally, like, she finds out that they're evil, and that's kind of disappointing. But she's much more into the science aspect of things. She's interested in the heroics in the same way sort of everybody is, but she's really a fangirl for the science part.
Like, there's that villain in the first issue whose name I'm actually forgetting.
Monica Rappaccini.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Formerly of AIM.
Yeah, and it's like, she's like, well, why are you using, why are you doing supervillain stuff? You could be doing, great science stuff, which I feel like is a common kind of, like, something that's noticed a lot about, like Lex Luthor. He's got these, billionaires, he's a genius, but it's like, he's, rather than devoting that to helping humanity, he just wants to kill Superman,
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you also, Nadia's backstory is pretty grim, and yet, she's this very almost bubbly personality. Why is that?
That was a definite decision I made, sort of while talking to Mark Waid, who was writing her in Avengers, who started the character. That we wanted to emphasize that this character, a big thing with her is not being defined by this bad stuff that happened early in her life. Because she didn't have any say in that, and she figures that she can continue to be defined by that and have, not really be able to appreciate the fact that she's escaped, that she's saved herself. And, then continue to have a life that's just as miserable as it would be if she was still locked up there. Or she can decide that she's going to, really embrace what time she has left in the world. She's lost basically 16 years at this point. And she feels like she needs to make up for that time. And that's a big thing is, and that doesn't just extend to doing heroics or being a scientist, but it goes for, like eating new things. Like Nadia is constantly excited about food in the issues as well. So, we want to make sure that she's really sort of embracing life.
Now, of course, the character of Nadia Pym was created by Mark Waid originally. Do you ever like call Mark up, like ask him for like notes about Nadia, or is it more like, or are you more or less like free to build more of her character and backstory yourself?
So interestingly, like when I found out that I was going to be writing this book, I found out at AwesomeCon last year in DC, which Mark was also at. So I dropped by his table to talk to him about it, kind of get his notes on what he thought of the character, where he thinks it should go. And for the most part, he gave me a couple notes on what he'd done, but his advice was like, do what you want to do, have fun, make it a good book. You don't need to ask me about it. And so, yeah, basically that's what I did. Is I kind of jumped in head first, and the first issue I wrote, I actually sent to Mark and was like, hey, I know you're busy, but would you mind reading this for me? Just make sure it's kind of on point with what you imagine the character being like. And his feedback, like, he was really excited about it. He really liked what I'd done in the issue, and actually to the extent that he asked me to co-write an issue of all different Avengers with him, which was a Nadia-focused issue last year. I think it was number 14. It was Civil War II tie-in. So I got a chance to write more Nadia stuff there, and sort of ended up being effectively like a zero issue to the series.
Now, of course, outside of Marvel and your creator-owned series Princeless, which if you haven't read it, go read it. It's really good. You have also written My Little Pony for IDW, including an upcoming series, which we have a poster for right here, My Little Pony Legends of Magic. So, what can you tell us about that upcoming series?
So, My Little Pony as a series has a whole, mythology that's often hinted at behind the scenes of the TV series and the comic, of historical characters and legends and things like that. And Legends of Magic is really sort of our first chance to delve into that and explore a lot of this time before our main characters were alive and around. So we get to deal with some of the myths and stories of Ponyville, including some characters who are real characters from the past that have been talked about. Like our first issue is about Star Swirl the Bearded, who is somebody who comes up frequently as being a person who taught the current princesses how to do everything that they know how to do. He's sort of a legendary wizard. So we're, I think, some of the first people to actually get to delve into that and play around with those characters, and including some new characters that people will get to see pop up in stories in the show, as well as stories in our series. So it's a lot of fun because we get to break away from the standard format and characters of the TV show and the comic, and really jump into a time that's often been hinted at but rarely actually defined in the canon of the show and comics.
We're gonna see any Darkheart or Iceheart or whatever his name was?
No, not off the top. We do. We're definitely get the first issue is a Star Swirl the Bearded story, and it's all coming from Star Swirl the Bearded's journals. He wrote down all these legends about characters. So we're going to be following up on that and getting to really see some of these characters in action for the first time.
All right, awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for talking with me, Jeremy.
My pleasure.
Hope you enjoy the rest of the con.
Absolutely will.
All right.